Hello, beautiful people. This is B, the goddess of empathy. The name is for you. The title is for me. You can just call me Miss B. I am here with 2024 HIV Stops With Me spokesmodel Ashley Lorraine. And we're just going to have a conversation between two sisters. Just kicking it, kick the willy bobo, or whatever they call it. The young people say, oh, that's an old statement. But yeah, just basically a conversation. So hi, Ashley, welcome.
Welcome.
Okay, so tell us about yourself.
So I am 37 years old from Long Island, a single parent of a very energetic 5-year-old. I love early. um, I just am really grateful to just be here as a spokesmodel, just embracing life, self-care, um, enjoying what life has to offer, and just the different perspectives of life. So just grateful to
Okay.
be.
So how did you become to be a spokesmodel for HIV Stops With Me?
So it was through another spokesmodel. Uh, I was I heard of it before, and I was scared to uh, tell my stats and tell my story. So I was like, no, the first time I heard it. And then I went to a presentation where someone I have known who was on the campaign was presenting. I heard their story and I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is like the purpose of why it was created. Like, I heard her story. And then she gave me this towel that was perfectly rolled,
Wow.
and she was like, she presented it to me, and that was Pam at this
Wow.
event. That when she told her my story, and she shared her story to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, like she shared part of my story. And there was another previous Toxwano, Eileen. She also shared, and both of them had parts of my story. So, but it was Pam that gave me the HIV Stops With Me black rolled towel perfectly, pristinely, I might add. Gave me the towel, and it was that towel that I still had, that I still have today. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I just saw myself doing that, sharing my story. Um, then previously I said no. And yeah, and
It's so
2024
interesting
later.
that you said Pam. Pam, I interviewed Pam last week and I knew Pam's story, but I could talk to her for hours. She is a phenomenal woman, and she has so much value and wisdom regarding life and managing your health and self-love, and just she's so real. She says giving the hard truth, the hard facts. That's what I remember, giving the hard truth, and she gives hard truths, and I respect her so much. So I just want to give a disclaimer, or I don't even know if that's the right word. I just want to tell you guys about the towel that Ashley is referring to. So as spokesmodels, we go through, I say, extensive training. It's not all glitz and glamour. So we go through extensive training and things that we're supposed to do when we're tabling and when we're at events. And I wish I had my towel available, but it's I'll have it for next time. When we table and when we do events, we tell our story. When people come to our table, if and they show interest, we present them with an HIV Stops With Me towel. But it makes me think about how in regal times or in royalty times, when you would present something to a king or present something to a queen,
Yeah,
you would give them something.
yeah,
So we have these perfectly rolled, and we're trained to roll them perfectly, and we cannot leave until they are perfect, where it says HIV Stops With Me in the center. and it must be in the center of the towel. You cannot leave. So when we are tabling and we present that to someone, it's something that we take very seriously, that our mentor takes very seriously. And I'm just happy to hear that her presenting that towel to you, along with her story, had you become a spokesmodel. So that's wonderful. It makes me think about the towel presentation and on
Yeah.
a deeper level.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully, if you're at any events with HIV Stops with Me, come by any of our booths and get a towel. Be presented with a towel. You have to hear our story to get the towel. You can't just come and get the towel. It's an interactive type thing.
Yeah.
So that's so wonderful to hear. So for you, because this is your second time, right? Or
Yes, this is my
all right.
second.
So in your experience, what has been the difference between your first orientation and your second orientation slash
Oh
training?
my
What's
gosh.
been the difference?
Oh, I think this orientation was like I was coming home. Um, I walked into that room and I felt like I was coming to the picnic. I was coming to um it was so nostalgic. Like I felt like I was coming to the homecoming. Like I just felt like I was coming home.
Wow.
Um I felt I belonged here. I felt like we picked up like where we just left off. I
Yeah.
felt like there was just no breaks, no period. I felt like November last year and just November the previous year and last year it was just like here and here. Like I just feel like we all picked up where we left off. And then to see like the other little babies, I was like, oh my gosh, like I remember where I was and now
Yeah.
I'm like
Yeah.
here. So it was like so cute. Like, oh my gosh, I sat where you sat. Um, I think I had changed. I did more growing. One thing I loved about the campaign was that it really it really helped me to grow in my own self-awareness because I it really challenged me in my own self-acceptance with my HIV status.
Yes.
Because I thought I had accepted it. Like,
Mm.
nah, there was more self-acceptance that I had to do.
Yeah.
Um, that I didn't realize like there was more growing that I had to do.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, wow, like I thought I did that already.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. Yeah.
there was some missing pieces, there was some missing crumbs that I had to get off. So and I
Yeah.
was grateful that I did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um and it was so funny because like I remember like the first year I was like, oh my gosh, like should I post my story? Should I not post my story? Should I do my question of the month? Should I not? You know, I was just so scared about like how vulnerable do I want to be?
Yes.
Because like yeah, I can put my picture up there, but do I want to put my picture and my thoughts? Because like, whoa, that was too much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it
Mm-hmm.
was like I could put the picture, but I didn't want to put the sounds. And I was really picking and choosing like how vulnerable did I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like people were gonna judge me, and I'm like, no, sis, you're judging yourself. Or like, and I had to make that distinction of like, no, like you're judging yourself.
Yes. Yes.
And when I made that distinction, I was like, it was always you. That sound
Yeah.
like that sound in your head was
Hmm.
always you.
Yeah.
No one ever said this, or no one said
Mm-hmm.
it was always you. And that was like
Yeah.
what was that was mind boggling. Like it's always been that negative self talk. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
never anyone else. And that was for me, that was the mind blowing, like the aha moment.
I'm so happy you were able to have that epiphany because sometimes it's other people's voices and then sometimes it's just our voices, sometimes it's a combination, but it definitely shows growth when you know it's your voice. It's not other people's. So now that you're honed in, and then now that you know how to hear that voice and it's your voice, then eventually, as time goes, because growing is a process, evolution is a process, we never stop.
Okay.
As you get more and more, you'll know how to use those words in a different way, or know how to reframe them, shall I say. So I'm glad you got that epiphany. We always, a lot of us always said we learned something different about ourselves when we came back. So tell me about your job.
So, girl. So, um, oh my gosh, where do I start? So, at this, my job situation completely took a whole turn.
Okay.
Um, so
Is it
I was
something you can talk about? If it's something you can't, we can come
absolutely,
back. Okay. All right.
I had this job that I loved, and I was getting burnt out. And I made a decision to um put my 2 weeks in and leave that job because it was just I was getting burnt out and overworked and everything else like that. And that was the first time I really picked me and my mental health because I felt like um that without having a backup plan. Which is definitely scary as a single parent. Um and I did that. And like for me as an overthinker, I'm just like, oh my God, da, 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 all this stuff in my head. And I just trusted God and like things like went okay. Like I realized like there was some in this period, like I have found some tools. I had did some things and with my finances and that I I took this educated risk that I could do this and find something that I was passionate about and go in the area of advocacy and doing HIV advocacy on a full time basis, but also um, looking for a job that made me happy and looking for a job that I could manage being a single parent
Mhm.
and um, saying no to something that doesn't serve me. Like,
Mm.
mind blowing. Like not only that, but I was at um another place where I was surrounded also with spokesmodels and they loved on me. I shared what I was going through. There was community there. And that's one thing I loved is that there were so many other spaces where I was at different retreats and they were there and like we were around the campfire and we were just taking pictures, we were loving on each other, like I was crying on their shoulders, like community was everywhere. And that's what I love about like being in New York State because like where I go it's like there's always some spokesmodel that's gonna be there too.
Yeah.
um and that's what I love. Like this year, like wherever I went, I bumped into one of many spokesmodels. I was never somewhere alone, and I love the hell out of
Yes.
that.
Yes.
So like it was amazing. Like I was when I was still with the job, and I was just going through a lot of hardships and stuff like that. They had another organization asked me to go to um, co-facilitate at their retreat. At that retreat, Mars and Rob also was co-facilitating there as well. So me and
Hmm.
Mars shared a room together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she was like my cheerleader, and I was like, "Oh my God, we cried." Like it was, I got to know Mars on such a personal level,
Yeah.
and
She's
then
cool.
she's
And she
amazing.
always
And
has the best snacks. If you ride with her, you drive with her,
girl,
she has the best snacks.
Yes, and then Rob, like his
Yeah.
story, like Rob has the best hugs. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god,
Yeah.
the best hugs. And
Yeah.
his poetry, oh my gosh, have you crying, laughing, like, oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like everywhere you go throughout New York State, it's forget about it. And then
Yeah.
like even when we went to like um in December, we went to the World AIDS Summit.
Yes.
Um, again, swamped everywhere with spokesmodels. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw Mariah, I saw Michelle, I saw Gwen. I mean, I saw everybody. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I so it was amazing. It
Wow.
was in Albany. Um, so it was so amazing to just bump into every like it's family. Like
Yes,
I saw
exactly. Exactly.
Tyrone, um, um, Jeffrey. So I even like the other smoke models, like
So you're
regardless,
never alone. You're never alone.
no,
You're never
no,
alone. Even in the depths of the challenges, we're all. This is for everybody, not just HIV stops with me spokesmodels. This is for everybody.
yeah,
We're never truly alone. Sometimes we just feel like it because of what we're experiencing at the time, but we're never truly alone. And people do
no.
care and they will share their burdens with you. I asked about your job to hopefully segue into something else, but this is a better question. Tell me about your HIV advocacy. Basically, I want to know about, tell everybody about that award you had. That's what
Oh,
I want to
I
hear.
mean,
This is a champion for
I
HIV.
mean,
You gonna
we
take your
right
flowers right now.
here.
Ashley has been, yes, tell the
So
people. She's been
yes,
serving for
so I
many
won an
years as
award.
advocate. Yes.
So I won an award for New York State Department of Health Commissioner Special Recognition Award. I was
Yes.
presented for my commitment, contribution, and response to improve and promote well-being to New Yorkers in the area of HIV. So
Yes.
this was presented during this World AIDS Day. So
Yes.
3. So I was
Yes.
really excited about this. I was nominated. I won this award, so I was really excited for this. This was one of my highlights from last year.
Yes.
Um, and just to touch on uh my advocacy this year,
Yes.
um, I am so humbled that and it really came out of nowhere that
Hmm.
more people have been reaching out to me on social media, newly diagnosed who
Wow.
feel alone.
Yeah.
Um, and I have given them my perspective of I know how you feel. Um, a lot of them feel alone, and a lot of them feel that life will be never be the same.
Hmm.
Um, and I give them the perspective of yes, life will never be the same, but that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that. Like, and I gave um a different perspective of like, hey, a caterpillar a caterpillar's life doesn't always be the same. Seasons don't always be the same, but that
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a good. That doesn't have to be a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's all about your perspective. Um, my perspective 3 years ago was not the perspective of what the life I had for myself now.
Hmm.
Um, and what has changed is my perspective, my acceptance, my willingness. These were tools that I needed that I did not have. Community, and my tools changed. My face changed.
Mm.
Um, my acceptance changed. My faith changed. Um, my goals changed. I changed. Um, loving on me, because I love myself different today. That's
Yes.
one thing. I take care of myself different than I do today. There's certain things 3 years ago we don't accept today.
I know that's right.
We not accepting certain things. We, like mine 3 years ago when I said no, that didn't mean nothing. When I say no today, it's no. Best
And
believe
no is a complete sentence.
that part.
Yeah.
When I said no, people took it like a suggestion. No, when I say no, it's no.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't stand, and that was another thing. I couldn't stand on my own boundaries. But I have people in my life that I
Yes.
have people in my life that says, "Excuse me, you remember that thing that you said you wanted for yourself? This is where you're going, boo boo. To
Yeah.
get there, this is what you got to do." So your
Yeah.
no has to no. They see I have people in my life that tap me on my shoulder. Said, "No,
Yes.
boo boo, this is what you want. This is how you gonna get there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tap you on your shoulder to remind you this is what you want." I
Yes.
got a network that works for me.
Mm.
And I'm grateful I have people around me that can hold me accountable. I did not have that. I had that negative voice in my head that told me, "Boo boo, no one's gonna love you. Boo boo, no one's gonna this. Boo boo, you know it didn't mean no last time, so why is it gonna mean anything this time?" No, we stand on boundaries and principles today.
Boundaries and principles. Boundaries and principles. One more
Yes, not
time. Boundaries.
boundaries and principles.
Yes. And one thing you made me think about, as you were talking about your community and your support, it's not that they were telling you what to do or telling you you're doing wrong. They reminded you of what you told yourself.
Yes.
So it can't come from anybody else. They just reminded you what you said that you wanted to
Yes.
help gird you up and say, remember A, B, C, D? Not you need to do
Yep.
A, B, and C, D. And didn't
Just
rub
that
it in your
type
face and
of
say, oh, you fallen. You said you was going to do this, but look at you now. They
yes.
just said, they
Yes.
repeated the words to you that you said to yourself.
Yes.
That's powerful right there. That's very powerful. That's very powerful. And it makes me think about again Pam when she was talking about just her growing and her evolution and how she had to get rid of again and reinforcing those boundaries, but getting rid
Yeah.
of those negative people in her life. And
Yeah.
everybody is not roses and popcorn and ice cream all the time. You know, sometimes, but people, they reminded you of what you told yourself. And that's what's important. And you're like, okay, I did say that. Yeah, and then you were able to follow through. That's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. Let me ask you this though. What got you to the point where you could trust people to basically pour into you or trust people to even open the door to be a part of your life? Because sometimes living with this disease, it can be, or any chronic illness, it can be very isolating. So, what got you to the point where you built that community and that you trusted yourself enough to say, okay, I need this right now, and I can trust that it's going to be the best thing for me?
Girl, I was just sick and tired of living the same way.
Mm,
I was so sick and tired of the insanity that I was living. That
yeah,
I was like, you know what? I can't live another minute like I'm living today. Like this hamster wheel has got to stop. And
yes,
I have to be willing to do something different.
yeah.
Because insanity, as we know, is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Nah, it's insanity doing the same thing over and over again, and expecting something different. Nah, I got
Did
sick and tired of myself.
did you find that people who might have been in that same place where you were as you were growing, did you feel that they were falling off, or you had to kind of put yourself away from them? How did they kind of how
I,
did that happen?
I found people who struggled like I have struggled, but have found a way out, and they
Oh,
have found a pathway out.
okay.
So I had looked for those people who have struggled like I did and found a way out, and use
Yeah.
those people as people who I wanted in my network. Because if they had found a way out of the desperation that I found myself in, then let me find what worked for them. Because if it can
Yeah.
work for them, it can
Yeah.
work for me.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that was a pattern, yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's excellent. So I'm sure um with your transition, which you're in right now with your job, now that you're not where you are now, have
Mm.
you established what you want? So do you know what you're looking for when the next job offer comes? Because I'm sure, yeah, I'm sure you have plenty offers, just deciding which.
Um, there is an offer on the table. And honestly, I'm just waiting. There's an offer on the table, and there's some.
Oh, the internet. Oh, Ashley. Oh, we may need to end this. Let me give her a call. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, or live recording. This is Murphy's Law. Ashley, can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. So I don't think it stopped, but then it came back. So I'm gonna think whatever you were saying, it wasn't meant to be on this recording. So act like I didn't ask that question because we didn't get the answer. It totally stopped. So yeah, maybe God doesn't want that in you. But I do want to tell you, if you made the right choice, you made the right decision, following your gut and following your heart. I know for me, I have to. It takes a lot for me to learn and a lot for me to get it. And the job I had last year around this time, because I had a plan. Had a plan. This is what I want. ABCD. This is what's going to help me. Step one, step two. So this job was the foundation of future goals of what I had, and it was so toxic. It was just toxic, and I
Mm.
was pushed through, get through it, and my body's I literally started getting sick. And the minute like I was getting ulcers, I was constipated. I go to emergency room. They're like, "You're just stressed out." As soon as I gave my 2 week notice, I immediately felt better. And then it
Mm.
was like, "Oh, you need to see a gastroenterologist. You got to see that." I didn't need none of that. I needed that toxicity out. That toxicity out. And then you want to make God laugh, make plans.
Ain't that?
Definitely, definitely. So do you have any parting words? Specifically, we're good with time, but do you have anything, I want you to speak on before we close on self-love and self-care and how important it is um for people with HIV or people in general. So I just want your take on that.
Um, I would say self care is vitally important. I would say make it a part of your daily life. Whether that is 5 minutes or 10 minutes, take time to get in tune with yourself. Take time to emotionally, spiritually just connect with yourself. Make sure you know where your heart and your feet is, like whether that's through breathing, like whatever practice you take, but to just get in alignment with yourself through the
Yeah.
hustle and bustle of just life. Make sure you stay in contact of where your emotions, where um you are. Just get present with yourself because we all have responsibilities to kids, work, like whatever we have, but you gotta be connected with yourself and know like what's going on with you, because like you are your most valuable player. Like you have to
Mm,
advocate for you.
hmm.
So spend time with you, journal, get those thoughts on paper, like whatever you do. Um, for me, sometimes it's just like listening to meditation music so I could just zone out and my mind could be clear. Because for me as an overthinker, I can think a bottle cap. Like, and for me, like, it's just music. It's just listening to running water to just still my mind and just
Yes, yes,
whatever does it for you. Just relax yourself. Like, just really still yourself for a couple of moments and just get some peace and quiet. Because it's hard, and I definitely know. Again, single parent
yeah.
running after a 5-year-old, I get it.
A
You know,
very wonderful, beautiful 5-year-old.
rambunctious, energized,
He's
the
so yeah,
bunny.
he's such a sweetheart. He's such a sweetheart.
Gets me
And
out of the house
you
to home, and I love him to death.
yes,
However, you still gotta find that time for well-being, man, and get balanced. It can be 5 minutes to close your eyes, deep breathe, whatever. Just get still with self,
yeah,
because you
get
gotta
still
connect
with
with self.
definitely.
Seriously.
And you touched on, and I'm glad you said it. And it just hit me this morning. I got a download this morning, like anxiety, and I'm a very anxious person.
Me too.
Anxiety is just it's fire. It's just energy burning, 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 burning. And what has helped me in the past was like listening at night. I listen like the waves crashing. So anything with water, and the fact you said the running water, I was like, thank you God for confirming. So yeah, so that anything that
Yeah.
kind of relaxes and slows down and puts that fire out, that's what kind of helps. So we have had the wonderful pleasure of talking to Ashley, an HIV Stops With Me spokesmodel for 2024, and she was also a spokesmodel for 2023. And she continues to grow and evolve. And if you have any question regarding HIV, go to www.hivstopswithme.org. Okay, Ashley, say bye. I'm going to
Bye.
send you another invite in about 2 minutes, okay?
Okay.
All right. Bye, beautiful people.